to GBNews Live with me, Patrick Christie's here at Tory Party Conference. Now, the government says it's exploring the potential of locking in long-term deals to import gas from Norway and elsewhere in an effort to keep the lights on this winter. Well, the energy regulator Ofgem has warned that there's a, quote, significant risk of gas shortages this winter amid a gas supply emergency. Other measures include deals to keep coal-fired power stations on standby. The International Energy Agency's warned that gas markets could remain constricted into next year as Russia restricts our supplies. But joining me now is the one and only Charles McAllister, Director of Policy at UK Onshore Oil and Gas. And I want to take a slightly different tack to all of this, because people have been saying, hang on a minute, why aren't we just essentially mining our own resources? We're standing on billions and billions and billions of pounds of capacity.
Trillions.
And people go, trillions, there you go. People are going, well, hang on a minute, it's because of NIMBYs, because of people who say, not in my backyard.
Yep.
But actually, you think there's a different reason, don't you? When you talk to local people, is it because they're too afraid to say yes because of the eco-mob?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I can just explain the gas shortage, if we can pull it back to November of last year, the government released a statutory security of supply report. What they said was, there's no issue, we'll have secure supplies. Fast forward only 9-10 months, as you say, the Ofgem, the regulator, are saying significant risk. Just shows you what can happen in a short period of time. But you're absolutely right. So I've been to many of the 120 onshore oil and gas sites in the UK. When I speak to local people, there is support. There is support there. I mean, this industry is 170 years old. We're not new. The concern and the issue is local people are afraid of sticking their head above the parapet.
Why?
Fear of retribution from, quite frankly, a mob.
Like physical attacks?
Well, various things. I mean, if I can just give you some examples of the activities that some of the protesters against fracking sites have taken. So, two for me. Number one, some protesters broke into an active gas site in North Yorkshire, scaled a 60-foot rig and set off a flare at the top on an active gas site.
I mean, they're not the sharpest.
I don't think I need to say to you that clearly isn't safe.
No.
So that's one example. Another one is the head of the North West Ambulance Service had to write a letter to Lancashire County Council because the ambulances were called to the Preston New Road site 7 times. In each of those occasions, the head of the ambulance service said there were no injuries, there were no issues, and people refused to go to hospital. Not only that, he said he witnessed abuse of staff. So these protesters, I think their behaviour is absolutely unacceptable, and we cannot let them dictate government policy. So we have to go for fracking. The alternative is totally economically, environmentally, and geopolitically unacceptable.
Yeah, we're hearing about things like a U-turn on tax cuts for the rich, a cost of living crisis, an energy crisis, and all of this stuff. Well, hang on a minute, we might have more money if we went for fracking, but one of the reasons why we're not at the minute potentially is a fear of public backlash. What you're saying is it's not really backlash from residents, it's fear of an eco-mob who are in turn intimidating the residents. Yeah,
absolutely. So the group, I do a lot of the public information days for shale gas companies, and a concern with local people isn't against shale gas, it's if there is shale gas development, protesters will come.
Right.
That's a legitimate concern.
Yeah, but it's how we deal with the protesters.
I really think it is. And this idea, it's been said, government have said shale gas will only go ahead with local support. Now, the reason why the industry wasn't able to develop at the start is because from a regulatory perspective, we were demonised. So, for example, the regulations that were set for us on seismicity, if you had applied those to the geothermal, construction, quarrying industry, none of them would be able to operate in the UK. So we need consistency in order to develop. This test of local support, whatever it means, because we don't know, isn't being applied to other sectors.
But actually, maybe we've got to the crux of this now, because for some people wondering why locals would go against something, bear in mind that they could actually have a share in some of this stuff. They could actually, they could take home cash in wheelbarrows if they said yes to it, couldn't they?
Not could, they will. Okay?
Right.
So for an exploration site, £100,000 goes to the local community. Even if we find absolutely nothing, they get money. Companies also give a share of revenue. So we always do it in terms of percentages. So up to 6% goes to local people. To put that in number terms, current gas prices, 40 well site, roughly 4 hectares, about 2 times the size of a football pitch, up to £400 million for a village.
Right, but this is unbelievable, isn't it? Because you actually would clearly say yes to that. I mean, most people in their right minds would say yes to this, wouldn't they? I mean, I certainly would. But the reason why they're not, and maybe this is what the eco-mob have realised, is that actually the way to stop this is to say, there's no public support. Well, how do you stop public support for something that could essentially secure not not just your own bank balance, but your kids and your grandkids and generations to come. It's by intimidating them.
Jobs, yeah, exactly. Economic, environmental and geopolitical benefits of shale gas development are not met by continuing down reliance on imports. Simple as that.
All right, good stuff. Now, I know you've had a busy time here at conference. I'll let you go and get some kit now. Thank you.